What is going on, guys? Craig1287 here, bringing you yet another Battlefield 4 gameplay. Going on in the background, you're going to be seeing some MG4 gameplay on Op Locker, rocking out with a suppressor so that I can stay off the minimap. I definitely have not gotten to play this gun as much as I've wanted to since the AWS came out and kind of stolen its thunder, but I really want to go back to using it and the M249 and seeing if the 200-round magazines are enough to get me to use them again as the primary LMG that I use. So expect to see some MG4 gameplay coming out in due time. Now, the main thing that I wanted to talk about for this video is the CTE, the Community Test Environment. Now, originally when I read the Terms of Service Agreement for it, it came off as if, I mean, they made it very clear that you could not show footage of it, but it just kind of also seemed like the way that they were describing it was that we could not talk about the CTE. But recently, LevelCap he came out with a video on the CTE, not showing footage, but discussing aspects of the CTE. And then, actually, I think Rival X Factory, or just X Factor, came out with his video before LevelCap did, and both of them did the same thing. They were showing non-CTE footage, yet they were talking about aspects of the CTE that originally I thought we couldn't talk about. And I've asked around on Reddit, and I've posted on their two videos on YouTube, and people have pretty much generally responded saying that DICE that is not part of the TOS that prevents you from discussing it. So hopefully I don't screw things up by releasing this video, and hopefully it wasn't just that X Factor and LevelCap had exclusive privilege to discuss it from DICE. They never mentioned anything in their video description or in the video itself, so hopefully that is not the case, and I'm not going to get my account banned on Battlelog, forcing me to repurchase the game by uploading this video, because I do want to talk about the CTE. I think that the CTE is a great thing, and there's a lot of people, especially for console players, non-premium users, and people that just didn't get in for the limited amount of space, that don't have access to the CTE. And I'm sure you guys are very curious as to what is going on. So let's get to it. They've had 3 patches so far, patch 1, patch 2, and patch 3, very creatively named, and they are all part of initiative number 1, which is the Netcode fixing. Patch 1 did some aspects with the tick rate, the quote-unquote tick rate. They upped it from 10 times a second, 10 hertz, to a 30 times a second, 30 hertz. And that was, so that's what it is doing on the client side. So theoretically, this is to pretty much improve, the quote-unquote netcode. And they did some other things, but that was typically the big thing. There's all these patches, there's like about one big major thing that is to directly fight the netcode issues, and then there's a lot of other minor things, trying to fix minor packet loss things and performance and different bugs and glitches that are happening. In patch 2, they sought to fix the tick rate again, just doing some small things with the high-frequency network update for the client side, giving you the option to actually set your tick rate high versus low. People that have crappy bandwidth and crappy internet, having it set to the default high can negatively affect their quote-unquote networking netcode experience. But they also did probably one of the more important things from it that a lot of people liked was they lowered the explosive camera shake, and it is fairly drastic. Again, I really wish we could show footage of the CTE. There are some videos out there where people have showed it. I guess they're taking a pretty big risk showing it, but just take it from me that the amount of shake from explosives on grenades and C4 and things like that, even Levolution shaking, has been fairly drastically reduced. It's noticeably reduced. There is still some shake, but it's not enough to drive you insane. It's actually kind of, I'm assuming what it was originally intended, which was a feedback to let you know that there is an explosion going off. So It'll be interesting to see what they do with that. Now, the third patch has actually gone up about 7 hours ago from me recording this. So by the time you guys watch this tomorrow morning, it will have been a while. But that has come out. I have not actually gotten to play it enough to really get a feel for things. But I can tell you what they have done, just listed in the patch notes. And that is they changed the frame history time from 1.5 seconds to 1 second. This value is used in determining how much quote-unquote slack the server allows a client with packet loss to have. With this number lowered a bit to match the 30 Hz server send frequency, we should see even less deaths behind cover. So that is pretty darn cool. There's this one mention of Obliteration competitive mode, added support for the Obliteration small competitive mode, and then in parentheses, servers coming. So I haven't yet checked this out, but I've always been a fan of Obliteration mode, but it's one of those modes that's just not quite fit for 64 players. It can just get way too chaotic and make it way too deadly to be the guy that picks up the bomb. So I'm very interested to see what this small, more competitive mode, whatever that means, being added into the game. They also did a high altitude jet fix. I don't really care about that. Operation Metro exploit fix. I'm guessing that's where you can get stuck inside of the map and shoot people from the ceiling, but they can't shoot you. And then it says PC client stability improvement. So no real details to that, but the game definitely does seem like it's running a lot better in the CTE, and of course for the quote-unquote netcode stuff, I am getting shot around corners a lot less. There's a much less occurrence of mutual kills in which you and the person you're shooting at both kill each other. That still happens simply because of the way the mechanics of the game work, that there's actual projectiles flying through the air, so both of you could shoot your weapons before each other are killed, and the one projectile flying through the air kill each other. But it definitely happens a lot less now due to the netcode issues that would cause it to where somebody actually would be dead, but due to the screwing up in the networking and things like that, that the game thought that they were... It happens less. That's what matters. There's also a death shield fix. Which they just never added that to the CTE environment. So now that is actively happening. The fix is in the CTE. So the death shield thing doesn't happen in vanilla or, well, standard, normal, whatever you want to call it, and CTE. So I really love the way that they're doing these patches. I look forward to, if I don't get banned and killed on Battlefield for releasing details such as this, I look forward to giving you guys more details as to what is coming out, whether it's good or not, and just my general thoughts. And I still plan to make these feedback responses onto their forums, because that's where they're really going to see this stuff and get a feel for whether the stuff they're doing, whether they're adding, changing, removing, whether these things are good for their game. But I just really love the way that they're doing these patches, because they list the patch contents, they give the details, and then they also have another paragraph at the end of all three of these. I hope they continue to do it, that says, what are we testing? And it gives a brief description of, for the third one, it says, making sure the new frame history time value works as intended and doesn't affect the game in a negative way and improves the engagements even further. We also need to confirm that the death shield problems, they're pretty much just saying, like, alright, see, these are the changes that we did, but what are we specifically looking at from you guys in the forums? And that's just really, really cool. It gives a little description of what they're specifically looking for and why these changes that they put into the patch contents, why are we doing this, and how are we actually going to be focusing our attention on the forums. What are we going to be looking for? What are the keywords that we're looking for? So it's a really, really cool thing. I'm so glad that they are doing this. I look forward to rocking the game out with the third patch, and I also look forward to each progressive patch, what they come out with for number 4, because each of these patches has made a difference. I've noticed very noticeable changes in the performance of the game, and I've noticed a lot less quote-unquote netcode things, getting shot behind walls and behind cover and mutual kills. So, guys, I hope you enjoyed the gameplay going on there in the background. I look forward to maybe one day being able to actually show you some footage of the CTE. Until then, I hope that I don't get banned and can still talk about the CTE. Hope you guys have enjoyed all of it. Have a good one. Ta-ta.